Okay, so we learned that Lindsey Graham has passed away. Let's see. A South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham died at the age of 71 following an aortic dissection caused by artery, art, artery, artero, artery, arteriosclerotic, okay, arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease. Man, that was a tongue twister. And I probably still didn't even say it right. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham died at age 71 following an aortic dissection caused by arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease. A preliminary report by the District of Columbia medical examiner indicated this tear in the body's main artery led to the sudden cardiac arrest. First responders were dispatched to his Capitol Hill residence on Saturday evening after the senator experienced chest pains. Mitch McConnell was in the hospital just like right before that all happened. Like he's like, knocking on heaven's door himself. Let's see if he's still alive. Yes, Mitch McConnell is alive. Breaking weeks of silence after being hospitalized in mid June. Oh, so he's been in there since mid June. Okay. The 84-year-old senator released a statement confirming he was hospitalized for a fall and pneumonia. Okay, so it's like old age stuff. He stated he is now in a rehabilitation center undergoing physical therapy, but intends to finish his term. Bro, you shouldn't be finishing your term. And I'm not one to sit here and cheer or put people down and all that when they die. I think that's just bad taste, to be honest with you. You are part of the problem. Both these guys were part of the problem. It's that WWE stuff that's going on in politics. Like these people are friends with the Nancy Pelosi's, the Joe Bidens, the Barack Obamas. All of these people, they're all on the same team, pretending to be against each other. And I know a lot of people have reason to celebrate these guys' deaths. And I get it. I understand. I'm not one to gloat over that kind of stuff. It's just, to me, it's just bad taste. But I am not shedding a tear either. These were bad men. These were evil men. But it's kind of weird, the mysterious, just all of a sudden death, just out of nowhere. Because I mean, this guy was like, he literally was just like speaking about Mitch McConnell's health, as a matter of fact.
Connell, how is he doing? Have you heard anything?
I'm going to go check right now with my office.
Okay.
I'm hoping and praying he's doing well, but I'm going to check just right now.
Is there a contingency plan if for some reason
I have
his
no.
And then all of a sudden passes away himself. Like, look I'm a truther, a conspiracy theorist, but I like to be a level-headed one, and I don't just jump on any conspiracy just like that. But this to me is just, I don't know, that's kind of a weird coincidence that he just passed away just like that. I believe he was just talking about Russia and everything.
I get back to Washington, I'm going to go with Senator Blumenthal to the Republican and Democratic leader to see if we can find time to move this Russian sanctions package that would give tools to President Trump to help end this war. So when I get back to Washington, I'm going to go with Senator Blumenthal to the Republican and Democratic leader to see if we can find time to move this Russian sanctions package that would give tools to President Trump to help end this war.
There's rumors and speculation that Russia may have killed him or had him killed, from what I've been seeing on X. You know what? Let's go there and check some of the memes and stuff that's going on over there. See, this is that poor taste stuff, and X just they're ruthless. All the memers and everybody are ruthless. Ay ay ay. Their soul is mine. Bad taste, but this is a pretty good meme right here. It's your mind this time. Oh, what the F? Lindsey Graham, awesome. That's messed up, but that is a fire meme. See, it's just countless memes of just dunking on this guy.
Peter, we've had complaints from all over town. You're going to have to stop with the kicking.
Oh, yeah? I think my scary, otherworldly, shadowy spirit friends might have something to say about that.
You guys are ruthless, man. You guys are ruthless. They're just meme after meme after meme after meme. Jeez. Oh, jeez, man. Excuse me. I'm going to just scooch by you. Jeez, man. You guys need to chill, bro. Damn, dude.
The State Department has revoked the legal status of that migrant, clearing the way for his deportation. Secretary of State Marco Rubio describing that move.
Just days before this foreign sex offender was scheduled to be deported, Tim Walz, the governor, issued him a pardon, setting him free to once again endanger the children of America. Well, this week I revoked his legal status in the United States, and as a result, federal agents took him into custody, and as of today, he has been removed from the United States.
So State Department spokesman Tommy Pickett's with me now, and good morning to you. What more can you add to this story now?
Well, what we saw here was an illegal alien convicted of heinous crimes that was shielded from deportation by Governor Tim Walz, shielded from deportation. And we said, no, we're not going to allow Americans to be threatened by this. What we're going to see is Secretary Rubio revoking this legal status and making sure that we're not having a situation where this illegal alien convicted of these crimes can threaten another American ever again.
Well, good. I'm glad he's the least out of the freaking country, man. I got a little worried there with Tim Walz. That fool, that bumbling buffoon, that fool pardoned this dude. It's amazing to me that we even allow people like that to even be in office or even to run for office. I remember, like, this was before my time. McCarthyism, communism used to be like a put down, a dirty word. Now they have taken over so much to where kids are just, they're claiming that they're communists, like it's a good thing. And we got all of these idiots like that buffoon. Look at all of the corruption that's going on in his state that he turns a blind eye to with all the Somalis and the Leering Center. And then all of the whole George Floyd debacle and everything else that went on in his state. And the sacrifice of Derek Chauvin, the man who did nothing wrong but do exactly what his job and his training told him to do. But yet he gets put at the sacrificial altar of diversity and kissing up to the black people because you're afraid that they're going to riot, which they did anyways. It's like ever since O.J. Simpson, man, because of what happened 2 years prior with the whole Rodney King thing and the riots in L.A., how they burned down the city, attacked white people, burned down or attacked Koreans, burning down their stores and their own stores, as a matter of fact, which they do in every single riot. And they still just bow down. If you do not, nobody learns their lessons unless you have consequences. There's got to be repercussions for what happens. If you let corruption get by, it's going to flourish. It's going to grow. And now we got this big, ever monstrous, cancerous growth in our country right now. Look at the batch of politicians that are running now. Look at the Mondamnis and the Ilhan Omars, the Jasmine Crockett's. Like, look at all these clowns. These people all hate America. These people should be walking in the gallows about to get their due justice. But yet we have them making laws or participating in making laws and legislation. Like, please, man. When are you going to wake up, people? Like, seriously. How long are we going to let this continue? Yeah, you know what? I really like what the homie right here, Gil, the American Cholo, has to say. You know, he comes from a similar background and the same, you know, he's from LA as well, you know, except for he's from the Valley. I'm from Southeast LA area. But we got similar backgrounds and, you know, grew up around the same kind of stuff. I like how he is coming to the truth of stuff. For being a Chicano dude like this, he's able to see past the commie nonsense and like give an honest look into things. See what he has to say.
Having the privilege to be able to provide for my family. But now you have people who are out there and still, no, the problem is the system. It's mass incarceration. No, it's not. It's motherfuckers breaking the law, fool. At work, I always clown around and say, what's the worst that could happen, right? But I'm always safe, bro, because I know what the worst that could happen. When it comes to breaking the law, let me tell you what the worst that could happen. You're going to get shot, and you might find yourself dead. Plain and simple. That is it. That is the worst going to happen, and expect that. I'm tired of seeing people after their family members out there robbing somebody, doing something to somebody else, victimizing somebody else, and they find out what the worst can happen is, and all of a sudden, it's that person's fault. You shouldn't be out there trying to steal somebody's car. You shouldn't be out there trying to break into somebody's house. The same rules that in jail, you're going to get a beat down on your life, homeboy, and you follow those rules. Why? Because there's repercussions, bro. But to us, unfortunately, it seems that the more you tell people you do this, nah, man, you're just a sellout. Man, you don't know the struggle. Nah, man, it's you full of shit, homie. You lying to yourself.
That's right, Holmes.
I don't want my kids to go down the route, and I am so glad that my kids did not go down that route, bro, or my grandkids. But it took a lot of fucking swallowing my pride. It took a lot of fucking working when I maybe didn't want to. I wanted to party with the fellas. I want to sit there and chill. No, it took a lot of sacrifice, bro. That's the word I'm looking for. It took a lot of sacrifice to get to where I am in life. And this is nothing huge by any means, but to myself, this is my dream life, bro. This is my dream life that I thought about when I was sitting in that fucking jail cell and thinking, is this all life has got to offer me?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing, fool? That's what I told myself. What the fuck are you doing? And I've never forgotten what it is to be in a fucking jail cell. And that is a gift from God. I've never forgotten what that feels like, because that's what happens to many people that come out of jail. They come out very humble. They come out, I'm going to do right. They come out, you know what, dude? F that place. And then slowly but surely, they forget what a horrible life that is. You can try to glamorize it all you want, that I got a paquete, I got these zoom and wham whams. I was chilling with the homies. Homie, you were bored as hell. You were bored as hell, sitting in a room the size of a fucking bathroom with another man, homeboy. That is the life that you are looking forward to, bro. And I'm trying to sit there and tell these youngsters, homie, look in your hood. Where your older homies at? Which your older homies are doing well? Do you want to be there when you grow up, homie? And I know most of those guys are young, they're influential, but most of them know that that's not what life is about. They're just kind of going with the flow because they don't got shit going on, homie. But to sit here and constantly talk about it's the white man, it's the system. Nah, fool. We got that shit on replay, carnal. It's us, man. It's us. And they can't even fathom what I'm talking about. Why do you guys do this? Why do you guys do that? And I try to tell them, they're misguided, this and that. And they can't understand it. But you know what that tells me? That tells me that they have a good upbringing. Because in their morals and values, they can't seem to understand why you want to sit here and go to kill this one guy from this block over here and this and that. And you've been doing this shit for 20 years, 30 years. At some point, why do you guys don't learn it? Like all the stuff you hear. And then I'm thinking to myself, fuck, dude, I think this guy's right, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, at what point do we start taking accountability? Because all I ever hear is, oh man, it was their fault. It was just, no, it wasn't, bro. And the system isn't making you pick up a strap and take somebody's life, bro. The system isn't making you go to somebody's window, breaking it open and stealing something from there. The system is not out there making you rob, steal. Nah, bro. That's because you're lazy, homie. That's because you want to blame somebody else. I could sit here and blame everybody and their mama, but you know what? I wouldn't have shit. And to me, I'm just kind of fed up with it. Like I said, man, I can understand the youngsters, homie, because they're young. But us, as older individuals, we talk about what's going on out in the streets and we need to get together. We can't stop killing another. Nobody wants to hear about that shit, bro.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Gil, American Cholo, man. If you guys don't know who he is, check him out, dude. Especially if you come from, the type of upbringing that I came from. Stu keeps it real, man. I got to give him credit, dude. He's being straight up honest right here. And it takes a lot of guts for him to do that, especially in today's day and age. Because, unfortunately with the Chicano culture, they're doing the same thing that the black ghetto culture is, calling them sellouts and this and that, when you hold your own people accountable and tell the freaking truth. Like back in the days, like all this blame the white man stuff didn't, it existed within that culture, but it wasn't like to the extent that it is now. It's like the Mexicans, the Chicano culture are just copying the blacks' homework. And that's what all the other non-whites are doing too, because they've seen how they get away with it. They've seen that there's social currency in it. There's benefits in doing that the system will work for you if you do that. And that's why I give so much props to blacks that call out their own culture, their own people, because they get attacked the worst, man. And the same thing for homies like this dude right here. Shout out to you, bro. Like I got nothing but respect for that. Like 100% respect. A lot of people aren't willing to do that, man. There's a lot of like white dudes like me that grew up in the hood, or mixed dudes like me that just totally sell out their own white heritage and just roll with the Mexican side of things because it benefits them to do so. Even though they still will have to face all the hardships that a white person still will, growing up in a place like that and around people like that, you're always going to have to be 10 times harder than everybody else and prove yourself a whole lot more than everybody and still deal with all of the racism towards you, the bigotry towards you. Because people are trying to hold you down. And not just that, you have the system doing that, because when you click that, what's your race or ethnicity, and you put white, you're going to be turned down for jobs to fit some kind of DEI program or some kind of, like marking on a checklist for some, DEI affirmative action program where they have to get the numbers and the quota that they need. It's not easy being a white Christian man. You got it the hardest than everybody else in this world. And it's so crazy that they'll gaslight you and tell you that you're privileged for all those things. Isn't the world so backwards and upside down? It's amazing to me, man.
So whenever you see the crime stats, you're like, wow, it seems like certain people commit all the crimes, right? And it seems like we're not really. Turns out we're committing even less crimes than you thought. because criminals are now being registered as us. Okay. And I will, in post, I will flash this kid's booking, whatever, what he did and how he's registered. He's registered as this. Now let's just do a frame by frame. Does that look like this?
What she's saying, because she's afraid to get demonetized or taken off, or she's probably already demonetized, but you know, YouTube's cracking down on her because she's got some very spicy content when it comes to race relations. What she's saying is that white people are getting screwed over in the crime statistics. It's making it look like we commit more crimes than we do, because guys like this, they are marked as white when they're arrested on the crime stats. These guys like this, and it's crazy. They can get away with that too. It's just like when you look at a job application when it says, you know, a Hispanic. Like most of these, you'll have to click like white Hispanic, even though Mexicans are part white, but not all Hispanics are. I'm kind of confused about that. Not all Latinos are white. Hispanics, I guess, are part white because they're part, Spanish, whatever, from Spain. I believe that's the way it goes. However, but because they have a little bit of white in them, because, you know, the Spanish mixed with the Aztecs and the Mayans or whatever, so that makes them part white, even though a lot of them deny that heritage of theirs. But when they get busted and they get arrested, they mark them down as white, just like they make them mark it down in some job applications. So it makes it look like we're getting more jobs than we are, and we're committing more crimes than we are.
Does that look like someone who built the Colosseum and the Louvre? Does that look like someone, you know, who built America, got on the wagon trains, settled this country? You know, think heritage. But that's how he's listed on the booking number, right? And then that'll be logged in the stats, in the crime stats. So what's happening is they're actively rewriting history. Here's another prime example. It's actually a joke. It's comical at this point. And notice right here under race, there's a big capital W. Maybe just a typo. Unfortunately, there are too many of these to even include in this video. It's almost every time one of these people are arrested. This is the only thing that I have that in my home that would
hot sauce,
draws even the slightest correlation. So I have got to pick on this hot sauce can. Apologies. Almost every time one of them are arrested, too. It's always the capital W beside them. I find that very, very egregious. Why is that not illegal, by the way? How is this not illegal? You realize that they're actively rewriting history when they do this. So now when you go 100 years from now and you dig up the crime stats or whatever, you're like, wow, these people were really committing a lot of the crime. If they are listing every single one of those, or at least 90% of them, as with a capital W,
dude,
what pattern are they trying to draw? They're trying to say that this is the supervillain. They're trying to cover up the fact that their friends that they're bringing into our home against our own will, that they're not committing crimes. And when they do, they'll brush it under the rug by listing it with a capital W. And so they're trying to paint us as the villain. So at this point, when you see how skewed, when you see what BS, even just the entries of the crime stats are, you realize how much worse of a problem it actually is, because we don't even know a fraction of the crime and the criminal activities that these people are up to. Not even.
She is just, to me, I think this is huge what she's talking about. I think this is huge. And I don't understand why it's not being talked about more. This should be all over the freaking news, on every news station. This should be plastered all over. The internet should be talking about this like crazy. Now, if it was inverted the other way, you would be hearing about it nonstop. oh, these racist white people skewing the statistics to try to, make it look like brown people are committing more crimes. You would never hear the end of it. That's all you would hear about. There'd be race riots, all kinds of crap, cities being burnt down. It just, you know the drill already. You already know what would happen. Shout out to Lily Gaddis, man. She can be very spicy, but she tells you the truth, man. And whether you like it or not, man, she just pointed it out. You know what I'm saying?
Most people probably know the difference between, say, a white person, a black person, an Asian person. Oh, he's talking about race. No, I'm not. I'm simply addressing a skill that all humans are born with, and the differences between a white person and a black person are pretty clear for the majority of the population, if you're being honest, but apparently not in the criminal justice system, especially when you're changing the crime numbers to fit your narrative. Here are 4 men who were arrested in the state of Texas, all listed as white, and they're booking photos. Take a look. Do they look white to you? And we have found dozens of examples just like this: New Jersey, North Carolina, Ohio, and more. It would be like labeling Donald Trump black when he had his mugshot taken. Does that look black to you? I don't think so. So why is this happening? Why does the Department of Corrections want more criminals to be labeled white? Well, why isn't anyone else pointing this out? That's a good question. Last night, we showed you an illegal alien accused of murdering 2
Just like I was just saying, man, this should be plastered all over the freaking news. And now they're even labeling black people white. Like, I can understand the technicality with the Hispanic thing, because they are technically part white, even though that's not their race. It's just, but to label blacks as whites as well. Let's see what this guy is.
Teenagers, Orestes Ramirez, listed as white on his intake form. We think we have an answer, and it's simple. In nearly every case that we've found, the race was eventually updated. If you look at them in the system today, they are correct, but not before they were counted as white, to fit the narrative that liberals want, that white people are committing more violent crimes in this country than they really are. And that's the story they want to tell, but we're not going to let them do that.
Bro, how is this not on the news a lot more? How is this not blasted all over the internet like it should? Why is it I've only found 2 people talking about this? I mean, there might be more, but I'm not seeing it. What's going on? Now, I'm telling you, man, you hear me talk about it a lot. This, because of the last 2 years, they loosened the grips on censorship. It's the only reason why you're hearing about a lot of this stuff, because all the normies out there would have no clue about half of this stuff. The crime statistics, they would have no idea. They wouldn't understand all of the white people that are getting assaulted daily, getting killed daily. It's like all of the things that they claim that white people are doing to minorities that we're hunting them down and killing them and doing this and that. It's all inverted. It's happening to us. Systemic racism. It's not happening to anybody else but us. We got laws put into place, dude, holding us back from getting jobs, preference for jobs, getting government assistance. Oh man, dude, it's just, it blows my freaking mind, dude. And it sucks that you look like a raving, like madman racist trying to point this stuff out to people because they got Stockholm syndrome. They're like, why does it matter to you? What do you think it matters? Because this is happening. I don't want to live like this. I'm tired of this. When's it going to stop, man?
So, okay.
Durga, Muhammad Jihad.
Well, it's stuff like that is.
What do you want me to tell you? I'm your friend, like the Quran says, and then stab you in the back?
The Quran doesn't say that.
How about I become a Shiite with you, and we take swords and cut our heads, and for 8 hours I just march you like.
That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Or I could be a megachurch Christian with Kenneth Copeland drinking my blood. I could be with Erica Kirk shooting fireworks off my ass and twerking. You want me to do that? Small minority to demonize 2 billion people.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Weasel from Connecticut, the mighty Mongol, the amazing, all-powerful, sneaky
Allahu Akbar!
Sneako!
Allahu Akbar!
You don't even have a brain.
So what makes you think you can deport
You
me?
gotta have a brain to be
So
able to
what
get
makes
knocked
you
out.
think you can deport me if Sean Strickland can't knock me down, huh? You can't stop me. I'm coming.
I know. Then tell me.
Coming.
I'm coming. Durka Durka Muhammad.
Allahu Akbar!
Takbir! The women
Takbir!
the slavery that we take the women as sex slaves and
And inshallah, inshallah, you become Abdul Alex Jones.
Assalamu alaikum. Marry your cousin. It's so much fun.
You really have.
Durka Durka Muhammad Jihad.
Wow.
It comes from your Jewish supreme leaders. It comes from Abraham, who you are the bad son. You are the bad Islami. Bad, bad, bad. Abraham say, you are not the chosen. No good, Sneaky. You are cursed, Sneaky. You are cursed to wear nightgown and marry cousin. Bye-bye, Sneaky. I love you.
Hey,
I'll
stop
see you tomorrow.
stop killing.
His name is a sneaky Sneako snake. All right, we love you, Sneaky.
See you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.
Bye. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you see all these big Trump supporters. They're very anti-Muslim. And for a long time, I'm like, guys, you're ignoring us. I know Muslims suck, but what about Jews suck too? But now that everything's cyclical, now that we're kind of coming up on another wave, it's like, you know what? Muslims really suck too. It's like, you know what? Yeah, Muslims suck too. This feels kind of good. Yeah, bacon middle finger. Yeah, bacon cheeseburger. Islam sucks. You know, all that kind of stuff. It feels good again. So I like to see the debate. Alex Jones utterly annihilated him. Alex Jones was going nuts on the stream today.
And one of my favorite parts, I didn't even finish the full thing because it's so wild. It's long. It's like an hour and a half long. And I think they agreed to do another stream. Like, I guess it would be like today because it's like 3 a.m. So probably like 12 hours from now. But I think they agreed to do a part 2, which is pretty crazy. But Alex was spinning like facts, bro. He was like, Islam comes from Jews. Like, think about your religion, Sneako. It's like they wear the cube on the head. You pray towards the black cube in the desert. You both don't eat pork, et cetera, et cetera. There's tons of similarities. Obviously, brother.
Okay. See, this right here always trips me out, dude. This is where Catholics have done Christianity no favors whatsoever. And I'll give the Catholics their due. They help spread the word of God in a lot of ways. However, they are responsible for one of the most antichrist things ever, which is doing away with the law. The law was never done away with. Jesus says it himself. Jesus and his disciples kept the law. Jesus' sacrifice had nothing to do with abolishing the law. The law is made perfect. It's like somehow they try to separate the God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament as two different things. You do realize that is a Gnostic belief. You do realize that, right? That is not Christianity. Do you understand that Catholicism, when Constantine had his conversion, which it wasn't a real conversion at all, in my opinion, and I got a good video by Bill Cooper on that. Just look it up on my channel. He breaks it down really, really well. But during that time, Christianity was spreading like wildfire all throughout the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was already collapsing as it was because they were overreaching. They were consuming too many different other empires and countries that they were conquering. And then they added those people into the Roman Empire. So you had all this diverse stuff where the assimilation did not properly solidify the way it should to make one cohesive unit. So you had that going on, and plus you had the issue of Christianity, which Christians were being persecuted during that time. You ever heard of where the origin of Roman candle came from? You know, those little fireworks that you hold in your hand and they shoot off the little balls? Look that up. Look it up what the origin of that came from. Christians were persecuted all over the Roman Empire, hunted down and killed, and still professed to be Christians, to be followers of Yeshua, of Jesus Christ, despite knowing the persecution and the imminent death that they would face. And the Romans, they knew they couldn't stop that. That's how real Christianity is. These people weren't dying for a make-believe story. They were dying from the miracles that they seen themselves and the stories of the people that they knew that were passed down from generation to generation. Because you got to realize that Christ was, his life wasn't too long before that. Now, he might have been dead for a little bit already, but those stories and the eyewitness accounts still, they were being passed down. And they were seen, the miracles were seen by people still alive. You couldn't stop Christianity. That was a huge problem for them. So how are you going to save your empire? Well, Constantine all of a sudden has this conversion. Then he unites paganism and Christianity. Where do you think you get a lot of these holidays from that we have now? The Easters and the Christmases and all that. Look at the roots of those. Those are not Christian. And no matter how many people try to debunk or twist things around to say, no, it's not, it doesn't have pagan roots. Yes, it does. They all do. They all do. And you know what? The Bible has its own holidays. But you Christians today do not keep any of those. They pass them off as a Jewish thing, which it's not. Judaism is not the religion of the Old Testament. It never was. That is an offshoot, just like Islam, just like the Catholic Church. All offshoots of the original and true religion of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation. Judaism started from the oral traditions of the Pharisees in those days. They were breaking the Torah by adding to it, which the Lord commands not to. You do not add or subtract from his law. Judaism adds to it all the time and keeps the traditions of their men. And that's why Jesus called them out. He called them a den of vipers, a bunch of hypocrites. They were persecuting and holding their own people and punishing them for not keeping the Torah and breaking it, yet they were doing it themselves. And those oral traditions are not part of the Torah. So Judaism didn't even come a religion until way after the life of Christ. It was birthed by those same traditions that were happening in his day during that time from a corrupt Sanhedrin. Catholicism was birthed out of the Roman Empire by compromising, where Christian leaders during that time and Roman leaders of the Roman Empire compromised together and consolidated it into one big religion. Islam, another offshoot of the Bible. It's just like they saw the Bible, they copied the homework, and they threw away half of it and added a bunch of their own crap to it. That is probably the most bastardized version. Now, they're all bastardized versions. It's just that one is very done very sloppily, or sloppy, I guess. And as far as this bacon cheeseburger, this and that, and saying that this guy blasphemer right here, and you call yourself a Catholic with that name, that's pretty funny. Or you call yourself a Christian with that name, I should say. I guess they're all Catholics because they do everything that Nick says. They're all nothing but a bunch of minions. And I like Nick. I like a lot of things he says. I just don't trust him like I do a lot of influencers. I think a lot of them are feds. I think a lot of them are out for clout. This guy does not like to be told he's wrong. He doesn't like to be corrected. if he gets his feelings hurt, then he'll lash out in a way to hurt that person, even if it means compromising his own beliefs, whether they're political or religious. Now, as far as this cheeseburger nonsense that this guy is talking about, dude, read your Bible. The law was not done away with. Pork was not made clean. We are commanded not to eat pork because God says so. But you think God just said, oh, I changed my mind so you could have a ham sandwich? And you guys talk about people being so low IQ all the time. Dude, you need to look in the mirror. This is kindergarten stuff. How are you not seeing this?
Was off the goop, but I love when he goes off like that. He still got it. This man's been in the game for 30 years and he still got it. Utter beast. So that was the collaboration I didn't know I needed. Have they ever collabed before? I think that was the first time.
Crazy opening too. I mean, Alex just goes in with the disrespect immediately. It's like their first meeting.
And it was awesome. So if you missed that one, check it out. So good. Alex Jones is a beast. And, look, at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was good to see that. Your buddy Sneako pissed you off. Now you're anti-Muslim again. See, this goes into what I was saying. Profess one thing and then be okay with something, and then that person hurt your feelings, and then you got to lash out on them and say, oh, I'm anti this or anti that now. Just like with the whole, vote blue stuff because Trump did something you didn't like.
I am a nativist. That's the word that I think we should start using is nativism. I'm a native-born American, and I like things that are American. I like English. I like American food. I like American culture. I'm American. Don't bring that other shit around me. I don't like people speaking in Arabic. I don't want to hear about the Quran. I see this clip from Sneako. He goes, Inshallah, Inshallah, la 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 la. And it's like, dude, get the fuck out of my face with that. Nobody wants that anywhere near us. Get that away from me. Get that away from my family. Get that away from my city. Nobody wants that. We tolerated that. You know what? We use the word tolerance. If you say you're tolerating somebody, is that like a nice thing to say? If I say I'm going to tolerate you, I'm going to be really tolerant of your behavior. Is that like a nice thing to say?
Yeah, and they go, oh, the Muslims always retort. They go, oh, well, we're tolerating, you Christians and your paganism. It's like, actually, when you break down, they allege that the Trinity is pagan or whatever. Their small brains just can't comprehend it. Look at Islam. If that's not pagan, like, let's break it down. The Quran is divine, right? And that means the Arabic language.
No, let's break it down. They're both pagan, and they both have pagan roots. All right. Simple as that. You can't explain your Trinity belief. You can't. That was something passed down through the Catholic Church. It did not exist before that. And in no way am I not saying that Christ isn't divine, because he is. He's the Son of God. He was around before creation. God gave him power of creation. But it doesn't mean that he couldn't be created in heaven by his Father, which is his Father. They are not the same person. It's the Son of God and God. It's crazy how they go through the mental gymnastics of trying to explain the Trinity, because you never can meet one person that can explain it. And they'll just say, oh, you can't comprehend it. You don't know. It's, but yet they can't explain it themselves. It's wild. Like me, I would be totally open to it. Never met one person that can thoroughly explain it to me in a way that it makes sense and that you can prove what you're saying. You can't. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's illogical. And anything, it looks like polytheism. So it's like, I can't jump on board with that. You know what I'm saying? Christ is my Savior. He is the Messiah. He is the Son of God. He is the mediator between us and the Father. He is not the Father.
Language is also divine, right? So that's all right. So God is already like splitting himself off into one aspect over here. It's like, what is that? is the Quran like a holy deity all of a sudden? Like, that's what never made sense to me about Islam. You guys claim to be the big monotheists, so we don't idol worship, but then you're like, our book and our language.
That is the biggest cope, because you can't explain what the Trinity is, so you try to find some straw man argument about them and the Quran. That's not good, because you can say the same thing about the Bible, the Word of God. It makes no sense what you're saying right here, bro. If you can't explain the Trinity, just go ahead and say it, man. Simple as that. And that's okay, because nobody can. And shoot, if you could prove it to me and you can show me that you can lay it out right before me, then I'll jump on board with it. But you can't. That's the thing. I met a lot more smarter people than these guys, and nobody can explain it. It's just the same way how they can't explain that the law was done away with. They do all these mental gymnastics to try to prove it, but they can't. They're just talking in circles.
Which are divine. They're not just holy. It's like, okay, well, you're the pot calling the kettle black here.
We tolerated these people for years because they were these unlikely allies against marriage of convenience, because look, they had a problem with them. We had a problem with them.
They were never our allies whatsoever, ever. This is like in your own little fantasy world because you're so anti-Jew. It's simple as that, bro. And I'm not siding with them in any kind of way. I'm just telling you how it is. They were never our friends. The Crusades, we were trying to take Jerusalem back for us, which it belongs to us Christians. The ones that kept the religion of the Old Testament and the New Testament, the entire Bible. That's who it belongs to, the children of God. Now it switched hands. It was in the hands of the Catholics. It was in the hands of the Muslims, switching back and forth. And now it's in the hands of political Zionists. And they also have some Orthodox Judaism going on in there. But that's a whole nother complicated, I would have to do a whole entire video on that. It's a complicated thing that happens in Israel. There's different sects in there, and they're not all on one accord, let's just say.
We're kind of forced into the same boat, but now it's like, just get that shit out of my face. That's not Native American. I don't want it anywhere near me.
Yeah, and I was saying this the other day, but I don't actually care about Palestine and the nation of Palestine, guys. It's not something that I give a shit about whatsoever.
Me either. I agree with Blasphemer on this one. He's absolutely right. I don't care about any of that stuff. And no, I don't jump on the whole, they're the victims of the Jews or this and that. Now, all of that stuff that the Jews are giving them, they had coming straight up. They use their people as shields, but yet Israel gets blamed for being child murderers. And to me, it's just they're buying into the propaganda on that. And like I said, I ain't got to begin this. I got nothing to gain. I'm not trying to side with anybody. I ain't getting the $7,000 check. I'm not doing any of that stuff. Because as soon as you call it out for what it is, people either assume, oh, he's a paid Zionist or this or that. Or if you're on the other thing, oh, you're just a liberal or it's like, bro, like, I see it for what it is. The Muslims, Islam, they use the media, the Marxist media, as a weapon, and they attack Israel over that. It's crazy how Israel's supposed to be the ones controlling the media and all kinds of stuff. It's the Jays that control everything. The why is all of the propaganda on all the mainstream news is like Reuters and Associated Press and all of the big ones that report on the wars and everything. They're all anti-Israel, every single one. And they play this propaganda that you see in Palestine. Oh, another school bombing, another hospital full of children was bombed by Israeli forces, the IDF and blah, blah, blah. That's all you see. And they'll show propaganda film of all these children crying and all the rubble and everything. When it was Hamas, okay, that set all that up and made sure that happened. They used their own They use their own as sacrificial lambs to use in the media propaganda to take down the little Satan, which is Israel.
Whatsoever. Never have. And you know what? It sucks what's happening in Gaza. And you know, I have sympathy, like human sympathy for other people. You know, I see what's happening Israel does to people, but I never cared about the nation state of Palestine.
Good. Same goes with a guy like Rabbi Mizrahi, who I saw with Gavin McInnes. And I'm just waiting for the day when whites, especially these like boomers, are going to stick up for themselves as whites and as Christians. We need to have as much racial pride and ethnic pride and national pride as these other people. I see, for example, Gavin McInnes sits there next to an Orthodox Jewish rabbi, and the rabbi is as arrogant and smug and chauvinistic as it gets. This Jewish rabbi, Filth, says every Christian is an idolater and every Christian should be put to death and go to hell.
I understand why they say that, and I don't agree with him on a lot of this stuff because Judaism is a false religion, and that rabbi follows a false religion. However, the reason why they see Christians as that, Christians have bastardized the Bible, saying that the law was done away with, and they're falsely representing Jesus. Anybody that tries to add or take away from the law or anything like that is considered a false prophet. And that is how the Western Christianity has represented Jesus ever since the Roman Empire converted. And they changed the Sabbath to Sunday and changed all these things within the Bible, including declaring the law was done away with. That's why that rabbi and a lot of Jews see Christians today as idolaters, because they have the false idea of what Jesus is, the way Western society has presented him as this lawless, deity that did away with all of the things that God, his Father, made perfect. Do you understand why they see that now? Do you understand why they believe the things they do like that? And it's sad because it's all a false representation of who Jesus really is. Jesus never broke the law. He never done away with it. He kept it and he showed us how to keep it. He was the sacrificial lamb for us for the death penalty that we deserve for breaking it. That's how much God loved us. He sacrificed his own son because we broke his covenant and his law, which our death is the repercussions for that. But he loved us that much. Instead of sacrificing goats and cattle and all these other things to atone for our sins, God sent his own son, the perfect sacrifice, unspotted, unblemished, without defect, the perfect man. But that's why they see us that way, because of these clowns that know nothing about the Bible whatsoever. The Catholic Church, even the Protestants, which is Diet Catholic, it's decades of propaganda, indoctrinations of false doctrines implemented by the state. Why do you think that the Pilgrims and everybody else, when they came to America, what they were trying to escape? You know what happened in this country when they first settled here and they were implementing laws here? They kept the Sabbath. They did not allow Christmas celebrations whatsoever. It was outlawed. And most of the laws in this land come from Deuteronomy, from the law, God's law. But they won't tell you that one in your church, will they? And they certainly won't tell you that in law school unless you really dig deep in it and you bring it up after you've looked into it yourself. There's a lot when it comes to history. There's a lot of we're treading through murky waters here, man. It's like one psyop after another, one lie, one revision of history after another. You got to dig deep, man. You got to have your goggles on in these murky waters, because you're going to get caught up in some kind of lies. You're going to go from the fire and into the frying pan, dude, or from the fire pan into the fire, however the saying goes. There's lots of booby traps out here, man. That's why it's called the narrow path. And you got two ditches on each side. One side, you have modern Christianity, Catholicism, Protestants, everything that you can think of on that side, which proclaims lawlessness and all these other things, that hippie Jesus. Then on the other side, you got Judaism, where they added laws. They're breaking Torah. They don't love Jesus. They don't believe in Jesus, the one way to salvation, the Messiah. They reject him. The narrow path is right straight ahead between these two. Do not go to this side and do not fall on that side. Read your Bible. Avoid the traps.